Anti-inflammatory nutrition involves foods that help reduce or maintain balance regarding the body's natural inflammation responses. Particular foods, such as polyphenolic-rich vegetables, contain active compounds that exhibit anti-inflammatory actions when consumed. An anti-inflammatory food source may also include several compounds that work together in synergy, adding to its anti-inflammatory actions. According to Stone et al., 2024, inflammation is an ancient medical term initially referring to classic signs and symptoms. Inflammation is part of the body's biological response to harmful stimuli, such as irritants, pathogens, and damaged cells. We often forget that our body also has the inbuilt capacity to regulate inflammation by its endogenous nature. An endogenous process refers to a process that originates from within an organism or system. It's important to remember that our body has its mechanisms to manage inflammation, and we can support this natural process through various means, such as maintaining a body-centric diet, regular exercise, and stress management techniques. The holistic viewpoint suggests that low-level inflammation may also result from the body's natural response to the digestive process. Breaking down food and absorbing certain nutrients during digestion may trigger low-level inflammation. However, this is dependent on several factors such as the type of food consumed, individual body responses, and health status. The phenomenon of inflammation can be considered a juxtaposition to some extent. On one hand, inflammation is a crucial part of the immune response and is essential for fighting infections and promoting tissue repair. On the other hand, excessive or chronic inflammation can lead to tissue damage and contribute to various chronic issues. This duality makes inflammation a juxtaposition. It has both beneficial and detrimental effects depending on its self-limiting factors. Low-level inflammation is a part of the body's regulated response to healing, as opposed to chronic inflammation, which is often unregulated and different, typically prolonged. During inflammation, the body is repairing and trying to heal itself. Our body has the inbuilt capacity to regulate inflammation, which is a remarkable notion in itself. However, there is a fine line in this. The distinguishing factor is firstly, recognizing this, and secondly, supporting internal homeostasis in the best interest of holistic well-being. For example, something as simple as replacing ultra-processed diets with body-centric diets. Some of these modifiable factors will be considered shortly in this video. Holistic sciences suggest that usually the body returns to homeostasis once the catalyst has been countered in relation to low-level or acute inflammation. The length of time that it takes for inflammation to subside can also be influenced by diet and what we drink during that time. In the most basic sense, everything we consume has an impact on the body, whether it's temporary or long-term, body-friendly or not body-friendly. As suggested in a previous video, diet and liquids or nutrients are distributed throughout the body by the circulatory network. This correlation is important to recognize, as reputable sources now suggest that diet is a modifiable factor that has an influence on several body functions and processes. Unsurprisingly, holistic sciences have maintained the role of diet and nutrition as pivotal for a healthy lifespan. Types of diet and types of foods are recognized factors that may trigger the body's inflammatory response. According to Tristan Asensi et al., 2023, a chronic inflammatory process can develop if the immune system fails to resolve the inflammation or if the body continues to be exposed to factors that promote ongoing inflammation. They state that, by nature, it is temporarily restricted and self-limiting to maintain a stable internal environment. In contrast, prolong an inflammation response, or when it persists, it may potentially trigger other chronic issues over time. Prolonged inflammatory response may lead to the long-term presence of immune cells such as lymphocytes, macrophages, and plasma cells in the tissue, as well as pro-inflammatory molecules like cytokines and chemokines. They further suggest that, although this low-grade inflammation may have minimal or no clinical symptoms, the prolonged inflammatory response can have negative effects on tissue health, with potential of tissue fibrosis and subsequently affect functions. Low-grade inflammation, acute inflammation, and chronic inflammation are different levels of inflammation that can occur in the body. Low-grade inflammation is a milder form that may not cause noticeable symptoms but can contribute to various health conditions over time. Acute inflammation is the body's immediate response to an injury or infection, characterized by redness, swelling, heat, and pain. Chronic inflammation is a long-term inflammatory response that can be caused by various factors, such as prolonged exposure to irritants, autoimmune disorders, or unresolved acute inflammation. Also, while localized inflammation is confined to a specific area of the body, systemic inflammation involves a more widespread response throughout the body. Regarding diet, it influences digestion. Digestion may become inflammatory when substantial amounts of ultra-processed foods are frequently consumed. Because certain processed foods can contain high levels of unhealthy fats, sugars, refined salt, and chemical additives, which can lead to inflammation in the digestive system. For instance, Tristan Asensi et al. 2023 suggests that the presence of low-grade inflammation disrupts the homeostatic balance, altering the crosstalk between immune and metabolic responses and promoting chronic metabolic inflammation, a sort of meta-inflammation. They also suggest that, among the environmental and lifestyle factors that can promote or intensify inflammation, increasing scientific evidence supports the role of diet. Further, ultra-processed foods, UPFs, are characterized by being hyperpalatable, affordable, and ready to eat. Due to their nutritional composition, UPFs have led to a worsening of diet quality and have already been recognized as a risk factor for diet-related diseases. Current evidence highlights diet among the modifiable behavioral risk factors for developing non-communicable health issues. The authors further state that UPFs fall into a Group 4 category foods. Group 4 contains UPFs defined as formulations of ingredients, mostly of exclusive industrial use, that have little or none of the food intact and are typically created by a range of industrial techniques and processes. Energy-dense products high in added sugars, saturated and trans fatty acids and sodium, and low in protein, fiber, and certain micronutrients including potassium, magnesium, vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, phosphorus, vitamin B12, and niacin. In the same way, they are also categorized by the presence of non-nutritive components, such as additives and chemicals. Additives are frequently added to make the final product more palatable, with better sensory qualities and longer shelf life. Commonly used additives in the manufacture of UPF include flavorings, emulsifiers, and sweeteners such as aspartame, cyclamate, or stevia-derived compounds. Subsequently, Stumpf et al. 2023 suggests that the Empirical Dietary Inflammatory Index, EDII findings from epidemiological studies, cause and effect, might have been influenced by food preparation methods, such as deep frying. They also suggest that a recent meta-analysis reported a slight pro-inflammatory effect of tomato-based products, and that Western dietary patterns are increasingly associated with inflammatory markers. In a nutshell, UPFs have the capacity to trigger disturbances within the body. Regarding anti-inflammatory nutrients, plant-based dietary patterns rich in natural vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and moderate natural protein sources are polyphenolic rich. Several of the polyphenolic compounds are associated with substantial anti-inflammatory and antioxidative actions. Anti-inflammatory nutrition is a source of anti-aging. According to Leeks et al. 2023, long-term polyphenol-rich dietetic pattern has been proved to improve intestinal permeability and the level of inflammatory markers. Balanced and adequate nutrition intake has a positive effect on aging. Similarly, redox, which is short for reduction oxidation, refers to the balance between oxidants and antioxidants in the body. Oxidants are molecules that cause oxidative damage, while antioxidants help to neutralize these harmful molecules. This balance is closely related to the body's inflammatory processes because oxidative stress can lead to increased inflammation. A consistent bad diet and chronic stress can be triggers for oxidative stress and, in turn, inflammation. Antioxidants play a crucial role in reducing inflammation by neutralizing oxidants and preventing oxidative damage to cells. In this way, they help to maintain the body's redox balance and reduce the risk of excessive inflammation. Therefore, a diet rich in antioxidants can contribute to maintaining a healthy redox balance and reducing inflammation in the body. Taking the example of the Centenarians, the term centenarian is derived from the Latin word centenarius, which means relating to 100. It is used to describe individuals who have reached the remarkable age of 100 years or older. According to Dietary, 2023, unlike other people, centenarians have significantly different levels of hormones, cholesterol, etc. in their bodies. Inflammation levels in centenarians show a better balance compared to others, and therefore inflammation levels have been used to predict healthy lifespan. Although several factors are at play, in terms of the centenarians, however, diet is one part of this. Holistic sciences advocate the important role of plant foods, such as vegetables, due to the presence of rich and complex bioactive compounds. These foods and diets exhibit anti-inflammatory actions. For instance, Stumpf et al. 2023 state that polyphenols have a regulatory effect on the gut microbiota. Around 90% are not absorbed in the small intestine, but rather transported to the large intestine, where they are metabolized by microbes into metabolites such as short-chain fatty acids, SCFAs. Polyphenols may also have a beneficial effect on the composition of the microbiota, promoting growth of beneficial bacteria, such as lactobacillus, a form of probiotic. They also state that due to the complex interactions of different nutrients within a particular diet, the focus has shifted towards research on the effects of dietary patterns instead of single nutrients. Holistic sciences have long-standing advocated the matrix-type effects of foods rather than singular nutrients alone. Vegetables are rich in prebiotics and probiotics. These are helpful in maintaining gut integrity and, as a result, anti-inflammatory activities. Prebiotics are fibers, and probiotics are substances that promote beneficial gut bacteria. Both prebiotics and probiotics have been shown to have anti-inflammatory properties and can help in maintaining the balance of the gut microbiota, which in turn influences the gut-brain axis. This relationship between the gut and the brain is an area of active research and has been supported by numerous studies. Apart from plant foods, plant herbal teas or lukewarm herbal waters, such as dandelion, chamomile, and others, exhibit anti-inflammatory and antioxidative actions. Similarly, a great example of an anti-inflammatory food source is turmeric, curcuma longa, a natural spice that contains compounds with anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. It contains compounds such as curcumin and zingiberine, which exhibit anti-inflammatory actions. As a final example, Stumpf et al. 2023 recognize that fiber-rich diets are often associated with a high intake of polyphenols and complex carbohydrates, both of which may affect inflammation positively. One anti-inflammatory mechanism of fiber is due to the conversion of non-digestible carbohydrates into immune-regulating substances, i.e., short-chain fatty acids, SCFA, by the gut microbiota. They can also enhance the natural availability of antioxidant substances like vitamins or carotenoids by transporting them into the gastrointestinal tract, where they aid in maintaining a healthy intestinal flora. Additionally, foods rich in complex carbohydrates and fiber have been shown to lower low-density lipoprotein, LDL, and decrease inflammatory markers such as C-reactive protein, CRP, plasminogen activator inhibitor, interleukin-6, IL-6, and tumor necrosis factor alpha, TNFA. Overall, what's important to remember is that holistic sciences advocate focus on one's diet and lifestyle, with major preference towards natural sources, less processed, cooking methods, and tailored for a body-centric approach. Polyphenolic sources are antioxidative and anti-inflammatory rich, nutritious and intelligent sources of sustenance. subject to individual suitability and individual health status.